Welcome back to Stimmy Films, everybody. Welcome back to Stimmy Films. We just got some breaking news, man. Sources out of LA saying Drake's house mansion just got ran through, but they did catch the guy. They caught the suspect. They found him a couple hours later. But first of all, a lot of people are wondering, how did the people even figure out where Drake lives? How did they know where he was at? He just sold his last house. But we gonna get all into it, break it all down, and let you fill in on all this breaking news. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. Let's get right into it, man. So basically, y'all remember how T Grizzly crib got ran through? They took $1 million. Well, basically, they went to the same people and they found another celebrity crib. Like, if you don't already notice, in LA, they actually got groups of street dudes who specifically, they no longer do any of the small stuff. They are in big time heists. They hitting licks on Kim K jewelry. They hitting licks on Drake. They hitting licks on T Grizzly. Whoever wants it, they gonna get it, man. So that's how they're doing it right now. And so basically, the way that they figure all this stuff out is, there's multiple ways. You could search online. You could find it word of mouth. Maybe they saw Drake driving in the Rolls Royce one day and coming from somewhere in LA, like a nice place, a nice restaurant. And all they had to do was just tail him home, stay like half a block away from his car, kind of make every turn, have multiple people watching him. Another way is that, they could have had one of Drake's girls go over there and she could have leaked the address. You see what I'm saying? There was a lot of people saying that they shouldn't have Ice Spice shouldn't go over to Drake, and Drake shouldn't have Ice Spice over because she's still in that level of newness where she probably would have somebody, do all that. You remember what Cardi B was doing to dudes? Exactly. So this is nothing new. It could have been a girl that set up Drake because Drake likes girls. And when Drake has girls come over to his house, they know where the address is. They know, they have eyes. They can see that there's a number on the house and that this is a certain street is nearby. So they put the house number with the street together and they put it all in one writing. And when they do that, you could put it into Google Map and it'll actually give you turn by turn directions there. That's called searching up an address. So basically, when somebody knows an address, they can search it back up and get back to that same location, even if they're no longer at that point no more. They could be halfway across the country, and as long as they know the ad, they could search it up, and boom, it'll tell them exactly turn by turn how to get there, how long it's gonna take, how many miles it is, and all that. So once somebody knows those little critical details, then they basically gonna sell that information to the street dudes. They're gonna sell it to them. They're gonna say, look, I know where so and so, and if a person was to figure out where Drake was at, and they went to the street dudes and say, "Look, I know where Drake at. I know where he got all his whole crib. I need 20K. Cash me out 20K. You gonna get the ad, and then whatever you get after that, you get." And so that's how they kind of agree up to some things. The person who knows the info basically agrees to give the information to the dudes who's gonna actually show up and try to do the whole heist. And then what happens is that, they go and they don't pay the money for the info. They go and do the heist first. The guy has to kind of trust them. The person with the info has to trust them and say, look, I'm going to give you the info where it is and this and that, the blueprint. But if y'all get anything, you have to break me off 50% of everything, And so that's kind of like the agreements that they come up with. So that way, if they do find a lot of stuff, then they're gonna split it all up and whatnot. And so they did it. They got through Drake's fence. Somehow they got through the fence. They got through the guard gated whole community. So a lot of people are saying, like, is the guards in on it? If they got past the guards, how did the guards let something past them, man? You got one job. Don't let Drake's crib get ran through. And they messed it up. Drake's crib got ran through, and it's like, was they working? How many of the security people were there? Did he have any alarms? They might have even went up to the electrical box and cut the power to the crib. That way, no security systems, no alarms work, no cameras work. If there's a motion sensor, it won't go off. If there's some sort of a type of sound that is supposed to go off when like somebody comes in or does this or goes through this door or that door, or if a window opens, they had the power already cut, so they actually made it to where none of the all safety features worked. The only way you would have been able to realize is if you actually visually saw the people getting in there. And Drake's mansion is so big that you can't see around the whole thing. You can only see like one side, and then some bushes block the view of the rest of the mansion. And you don't know what's on the other side of the wall. You don't know what's on the other side of the backyard. You have no idea what's on the left side of the house and what's on the right side of the house. The security or the guards, they're probably not even right in front of the house. They're probably way up at the beginning of the driveway where there's like a gate that Drake usually goes through. But these dudes came through the back, through the woods. Y'all got to understand, they must have hiked up through there because they got into the neighborhood without being detected. And the only way you could do that is either if you slip the guards a couple C notes and break them off some, they'll act like nobody ever came through this way. And then they'll say, I don't know, it must have been somebody that was already in the neighborhood staying at one of the neighbors' places that ended up just hopping out. Because once you already in the neighborhood, then you in there. Like if you went to a friend's house there and you stayed the night there like 2-3 days, and then the third day you go outside, it's like you already in the neighborhood. By this point, nobody even knows that you came in and is leaving. So that's what's going on. And then the fact that they had hit up the dudes who did the T Grizzly, so they knew exactly how to do it. Because if they got out of the T Grizzly thing, then they know that they could get out the Drake. If they already did the Kim K, they know they could do it with the Drake and everything like that. So basically, with all that, the dudes ran in, they grabbed a whole bunch of jewelry, they grabbed a whole bunch of Drake's like collectibles, clothes, all them, so many different things. You know how Drake is. Drake is a millionaire. So he's going to have a whole bunch of art, a whole bunch of collectible, rare, fancy things inside of his house. And so what happened is that when the dudes got in and they seen everything, they started snatching things up left and right. Now, later on, though, they ended up getting like out momentarily. But later on, like an hour or so later, they seen one weird, suspicious looking dude still in that same area. And he had on a whole OVO fit. And they're like, wait a minute. The only person that got an OVO fit in this entire area is Drake. Why is this random person we've never seen before that looks kind of like the way they look at his face, and like they could just tell like, oh, he's not like clean cut and like rich or something like that. This dude looked like he kind of out of place. And so they pulled up on him and they're like, hey man, you know, what are you doing? And the dudes start taking off running. So they jump out. But luckily they had like one of them athlete 12s who boom, 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 hit speed. Must have been a running back or a wide receiver in the day. He caught up to dude instantly before even the end of the sidewalk. And the dude was, I'm sorry, I should have never done it to Drake. They made me do it. So he was claiming that they forced him to do it. And that, you know, if he wasn't going to go with the group, that they were going to do something to him. And so that's what he was claiming was a story. He said, hey, he's sticking to it, that they claim that he's the getaway driver and that he didn't even do it. He's just a person walking who caught a ride, and that they told him, you better get in the car and do this with us. So obviously he could be capping, but you know how people make up their own stories and they say they're going to stick to him. So that's his side of the story. Everybody's going to be blaming each other and all that anyways, because you know, in this day and age, it's 2023, bro. It's the year of the rat. It's the year of the snitch. And so what's happening is that everything is that they caught the one guy. He's going to tell on the other 3 guys. And they basically going to have something in the news later talking about 4 people captured for the Drake heist. And so that's what's going on. That's what's happening. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I brought you the breaking news. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to catch you there.